What is fun? Yeah. I mean, I could say something about that. I just wanted to read you something. I'm really... I always have this word in my head recently. It's really interesting. Because, I've talked to you already before that I am communicating with myself in a different way than most people. Because most people, they are so busy keeping themselves busy so that they don't have to hear, what their self or their soul or whatever it is inside of you that has certain needs, is screaming at them. There are people who have this constant beeping sound in their ear. And sometimes some people believe that this is a message that you are ignoring. It's like your heart's desire that you are denying yourself. And for instance, sometimes I sit down and I'm a little bit quiet, and then beep, a really fine beeping sound comes. Only that doesn't really unsettle me, right? I don't go to a doctor and say, hey, I have a beeping sound in my ear. No, what do? I take a moment to listen, because usually that happens when, I'm trying to sleep. Although I actually have the feeling I want to do something else, but sleeping is of course a way of escape. But also, often when I watch a movie, often people who feel bad, they wear headphones to blend out all this stuff that's going on, and then they listen to really loud music. Or you watch a comedy, right? It's like, right? That you can ignore how you're feeling. And just a second. You probably know this already. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm going to medium.com because I have a lot of, by now, almost 200 articles on there that just generally deal with a lot of stuff. It's really for you to decide. I just like writing, right? I like talking. I like making images. I like filming myself. I also like poems. And there's also an article called Being in Love. Yeah, I don't really understand why all these web pages are so anxious about getting you to download the app. And I believe that because they use your data. And if you have an app, it's much easier to track your data and to get an image of your behavior that you can then use and lump together with all the other behaviors you've already collected, right? And then you can use that to manipulate people a bit better and to give them what they want. People don't know what they want. That's why they go out and party every weekend and get shit-faced. So this one's, it's just like a series because sometimes I get sick of naming things. So I just started making it really easy for me, and I just call this series Short But Noticeable, and that's one number 7. All things are no things, our tidings are time. Fun is a game that corrupts over time. Look at the planet, we're having a blast. Maybe it's time that we learned how to fast. Yes, so So what is fun? It's a way to run away. And if you turn the word fun around, it says nuff. And then I put an E in front of that and it says enough, right? Enough fun, man. Because we're having so much fun that we're destroying the whole planet. So having fun also means there's a catch to it. Some people, they go out there and they want to have fun. And then their parents. Okay, life suddenly turns a bit more serious. Some people, they choose to be parents, and others, they're just kind of forced by life to become parents. With me, it's somewhat an active choice where I say, I want to be a father. But then I have days like today, for instance. Actually, it started yesterday, and I don't know why. But I have this part in me that constantly says, go have some fun. And I always think, that sounds really seductive. Like the way this voice is saying that, it sounds really, really seductive. It's like, why? I'm asking myself. Because, I cannot say I'm having a good time creating all of that content, but I'm doing it because I see the necessity to create content that's a bit different than the general bullshit where people talk about nonsense. I mean, we don't need another person talking about cycling. We don't need another person like acting stuff out. I cannot act because with me, I'm always honest. And that may seem boring to some people, but to me, it's a way to remember who I am. So if I feel like talking, I'll talk. And if I feel like saying nothing, I say nothing. And then some people, they might find that a bit like, it's not fun or something. Oh, you're not fun to be around. Well, because life isn't only about fun. I've had fun. I've fooled around. Because that's what fun is. It's fooling around. Science is having a blast out there. And they're fucking the planet. In its metaphorical ass. I mean, they're really having a good time creating all these things and making a lot of money. And like politicians, they're standing on top drinking like $500 champagne. Or maybe even more expensive. They're having really a lot of fun. And the way I imagine people having fun is often, they stand around and then they have their fingers up in the air and they're like, yeah. And that's the moment when the lightning strikes, bam, and splits your skull. So having fun is a state of ecstasy, of euphoria, and that in itself is a form of insanity. I just say it like that. Because that's how I see it, right? I mean, it is a form of insanity, because what is insanity? I've done a recording about this, but the way I see these words always changes because more and more stuff comes and piles up on it. It's like, oh, that also. Whoa, that also. I could write a whole book about a word. But now it's about fun, right? Because, I'm trying to understand what fun is. And so I was drawn into this. And it started yesterday. And, I've talked already adequately about, my heart is already promised to someone. And that's very hard because, we're separated physically. But emotionally, I can feel her very strongly. And that's the interesting part. How you can feel another being Like, she's a part of yourself, or he's a part of yourself, although you don't have them around to touch them, but you know they're there. And that's not really particularly fun, because you can't really do anything with them, but you can connect with them and feel like, oh, but that also makes you really anxious. So I have constantly this voice in my head that says, go and have fun. It's like, what the fuck? Like, who's saying that? Because I don't want to have fun. I don't want to have fun, I want to be with the woman that I love, and I want to build a family. And for that, I'm working. Right? And I'm working the job that I like to do, because that gives meaning to me. What makes it really hard at the moment is that basically nobody listens to this stuff. And so I cannot say that what I'm doing is a lot of fun, but it's serious business, because it's important work. Because we need to learn about the world and what makes us depressed, secluding us from nature and destroying nature, and disallowing ourselves to truly live. Right? I sometimes hear people, they say they're depressed, and they try to talk to others about their depression. And then, what's that mean? I mean, they say they're depressed. What does that mean? Everybody's depressed, don't you get that? Everybody. But you're at least one person who realizes that you're depressed. You maybe don't find meaning in going to parties anymore, drinking alcohol and, forgetting everything, because you remembered something. That things aren't as good as we say they are. I mean, we sit at home in these homes while the whole planet is being trampled by assholes that only want money. But you can't eat that. And you can't really love money, because money is just shit. But you can use it for something good, of course. It's not really what I want to get into, maybe in another session. So, you feel depressed, and then you go to talk to people about your depression. And they don't understand it because they are lying to themselves. You start being honest now. I feel shit. Everybody feels shit to a certain degree. But most people, they just don't let it close to them. They don't have the time or the stamina to face what makes them feel shit, so they just accept it. So when you say you feel terrible, they feel like this all the time. So if you go to them and you say, I feel terrible, that's how they always feel. That's why they need New Year's Eve, to have a good time once in a while, so that they can forget that they're suffering all the time. And so fun is for people who try to run away from suffering. And sadhana is for people who accept suffering and start to work with it. But that means you're gonna have a bit less fun. I mean, when I drink coffee, you could say I have fun. But these days, when I drink one coffee, it just blasts me so far out into space. It's like I just took LSD or something. When I drink a coffee, it's just like bam. When I smoke a joint, it's like boom. I'm gonna have a really hard time. I cannot just, be this, let's just chill and smoke something, because I'm tense all the time. There's so much tension because I'm aware of all these things that are happening, and I'm trying to, not smash in doors or something. So I'm trying to channel that stuff. And you can only do that when you're keeping yourself together, and when you say, okay, I have a mission. I accept that mission. I accept the responsibility that comes along with it. And I'm okay that there's people that get drunk every Friday night and fool around, right? And want to get laid or whatever. But I say, yeah, I've done that. And I didn't like it. Because if I would have liked it, I would have kept doing it. I would have kept spending time with these people that still spend time with each other. But I said I don't want it anymore. Because it means nothing to me. It's boring. It's an empty existence. So to me, having fun is complete bullshit. Yeah, so I want to have a bit more balanced life. Where I know what I'm doing, I know what I have to do, and then I'm doing it. So now I sit down here and I'm doing it. But the voice that said to me, go and have a bit fun, let go, let loose. What's that even mean? What the voice meant was go to, it was very specific on that. Like, it was very specific on that. And that's the interesting thing. It tried to send me to go to a party at 10 o'clock or something, right? And just see what happens. Well, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go there. And because I already know that's not what I want, I'm going to get restless. I'm going to be like a lion in a cage. And I'm going to pace around. And I'm going to and then what? I'm going to see all these people wasting their lives drinking alcohol and dancing to way too loud and very disruptive music, and then trying to forget themselves for one evening by getting laid or shit-faced. And then the next day they wake up and they feel terrible. Or they feel exactly how they felt beforehand, or how they wanted to feel. Because if you're having fun, you're going to reap the harvest of your fun, which is then a hangover or a sexual disease or something, right? That's what fun is. It's just trying to escape once in a while. And I'm trying to escape quite often. But by now, I have done these things, like I said. But somehow there's always a part in me that keeps me safe. And these times, sometimes there is a part in me that gets really angry at the part that's saying, let's have some fun. And then I just play it through in my mind. I just imagine. I go through it. I really plan it. I say, I'm going to go tomorrow at 10. I'm going to go there. And then I think, I actually don't want to go. It's like, why would I go there? I'd rather spend my time alone in my room than having fun with people that don't give a shit about stuff that's happening. You're not going to have a meaningful conversation with people that want to have fun because they want to have fun. They don't want to think about starvation or hunger or overpopulation. They don't want to think about nature being destroyed. They don't want to think about animals being exploited and sucked dry by the meat and milk industries, right? They rather eat that stuff because everybody does, and that's where they feel safe, right? Oh, let's have a good time and kill millions of animals and, chop down trees and then make them into toilet paper and then wipe our asses with nature. It's like, what the fuck? This is having fun. There's this image of cocaine. Cocaine. Yeah, that's not the cocaine, the stuff you snuff into your nose. It's like the land of milk and honey, right? Where there's streams of milk and honey flowing everywhere. And I've said that already before, but you could literally kill yourself with eating Like, you could buy 500 jars of honey and try to eat as many as you can and see if, it actually would kill you. You could do that. You can eat yourself to death. I mean, there were times where they had some kind of, puke bishop. I don't know how that thing is called in English. I think in German it's called a Kotzpapst or something. I don't want to speak German. I don't like the language. I don't like the language. That's it. And so it was meant that you can overeat, and if you were too full but you wanted to keep eating, you would go and vomit, and then you could go back and keep eating. That's what fun looks like. That to me just looks like, nope, I don't know what. So make up your own mind. But I decided today, for some reason, because I was kind of trying to pin this thing down. Do I really want to do this? Do I want to go out and party? Or do I want to stay at home and keep working so that I can be with the woman that I chose? Because if I would go there where people are that want to have fun, you know what that means? They're going to think I want to have fun too. And then they're going to try and approach me. And then I would have to make an effort to keep them away from me because I don't want to have fun, right? I want to be serious about my life and myself and my needs. And people that want to have fun, they don't know what their needs are. That's where they're trying to have fun. And I find that in order to grow, there has to be a certain seriousness, right? It's like maybe a tree is a bit serious about being a tree, while the tree enjoys being a tree, but he also has to be serious about being a tree, because if a tree would try to be something else, it wouldn't be very good at being a tree anymore. And so a person that's actually depressed and tries to pretend to be happy, isn't very good at both of them. So, to me, I just wanted to, be a bit like, happy when I'm drunk and with other people, and then miserable the rest of the time. I just wanted to be okay in general, to just accept it. This is the way it is. This is how I feel, this okay. I can deal with that. And then sometimes I feel really terrible. And then I want to run away. I feel really terrible these days. And that's also something coffee does. It's like, what does that stuff do with you? But I work with it. It riles me up, but it also shows me how angry I am. I want to have fun. Yeah, all right. And then I started dancing. And then I realized, man, to dance with headphones that have a cable is really terrible. And then I thought about, maybe I should get wireless headphones. But I couldn't do that. You know why? Because I had to think about how these, I don't know how you call these things, like Bluetooth, what is that? It's like rays of stuff, right? It's like, I don't know, stuff like, it's like it has a frequency. I don't want to have that on my head because I don't know what that stuff does. It's sending like intense amounts of information and I'm putting that on my head. I believe that to be very bad. Very, very bad. If I would have a choice, at the moment I don't, there would be no Wi-Fi where I live. No Wi-Fi at all. Maybe occasionally or in some like faraway place, but in general there would be no Wi-Fi. And I know why. Because it's important to be aware of what's happening and what is having an effect on you. But if you're just trying to have fun all the time, you won't sit down with yourself and ask yourself what's making you want to have fun and why you feel depressed. So, like I said, fun is an attempt to escape.